Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be playing with Sayintentions and attempting to do an IFR flight, and we're also going to be interacting with the virtual cabin crew. So this is going to be kind of an interesting attempt. I'm very curious to kind of see how everything shakes out, so let's get to it. So we are right here at Manchester, New Hampshire. This is a great little airport. It's really good. It has a lot of runways that I'm very familiar with. And what we're going to do is basically walk through the different components of an IFR request and see how things go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start by talking to the cabin crew and just going to ask them a simple request just to kind of see what happens. Erica, could you prepare the cabin for push and start? So we're going to ask her for that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to contact basically clearance here. We're going to ask them very nicely to go ahead and hook us up with some of the...
Captain, I'll make the necessary announcements and ensure the cabin is ready for pushback and start.
So we're going to...
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your lead flight attendant, Erica speaking. On behalf of United Airlines and your entire crew, I'd like to welcome you aboard this Boeing 777-300ER service. We are currently preparing for pushback and engine start. At this time, please ensure your
This is all AI generated.
Your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright and locked positions, and all carry-on items are securely stowed either in...
So I'm not going to lie, I sort of wish that I had a button where I could turn her down. She's doing a wonderful job of this, and it's killing me. I love it so much. But we do need to call contact clearance at some point and actually get going.
Please notify a crew member immediately.
That's awesome.
Thank you for your attention and cooperation. We will be underway shortly.
That was awesome. Manchester clearance. Hold on. I almost did it. So what I forgot to do is I forgot to tell them who I am.
Red 64, Manchester clearance. I hear you. 1 sec.
So we're actually United 100. Sorry, I'm always Red 64. We'll go stick with Red 64. All right, cool.
Red 64, Manchester clearance. Cleared to Bradley.
Oh.
Radar vectors, clow. Then as filed. Climb and maintain 12000. Departure on 124.9er.
I'm never going to remember 124.9er.
Runway 17 for departure.
So what I didn't do is I didn't request my clearance. I basically bumbled it because I was playing with it. But that's okay. They gave it to me anyway.
United Airlines flight Red 64.
Manchester clearance. Red 64 is cleared to Bradley. Radar vectors clow. Then is file. Climb and maintain 10,000, 10,000. Departure is 124.9. Squawk will be 265 tree. We're expecting runway 17 for departure.
For your safety,
and what they'll do is they'll read back to us and say read back is correct or whatever it is. So we'll get this all set up while they're doing it.
Stowed away this time. We ask that you follow the instructions.
That's it. So what we do now is we go ahead and
time today is approximately 45 minutes.
Is it?
Weather in Hartford is currently 81 degrees Fahrenheit with a few clouds at various altitudes. We will be cruising at an altitude of 35,000 feet. Please take a moment to review the safety information card located in the seat pocket in front of you. In the unlikely
this is all AI generated.
Follow the instructions of the crew. We are here to ensure your safety and comfort. Thank you for choosing United Airlines. We hope you have a pleasant flight.
Nice. It even knows United Airlines. Love it. Manchester ground, Red 64, ready, push and start. So what I expect them to do is they'll get back to me and they'll basically give me a quick little heads up and say clear to push and start or something along those lines, assuming I got the right frequency. But
Red 64, Manchester ground, push and start approved.
Push and start, Red 64. Fantastic. Let's do it. So let's go ahead and get the bacon. We're going to go ahead and activate our 2 engines here. We're going to go ahead and do the cheating method to do this today because I'm an awful person. Too bad. So the cheating method, of course, is that we're going to do a power back. I'm not going to sit around and basically wait for the little pushback thing to get over here and actually get me into the correct position and all that. But I'm not too worried about that. So like I said, I'm letting it kind of do its thing at this particular point. LNAV, VNAV, everything's all queued up. We're going to get this guy going. We'll go ahead and hit our little checklists here so we don't get any angrygrams, kind of a thing like that. Tested, chickadee check before you rickety wreck. Looks good to me. Normal. Flight deck door closed. MCP, we said all that a minute ago. Actually, this said 10,000 is going to be our altitude. So let's go ahead and punch in 10,000 real quick. Perfection. Looks good to me. Normal. Parking brake check. Chickadee check. Anti-AS before taxi. Recall flight controls. That's all the stuff I need to do. And obviously, it's going to ask me before we get to that point is we're going to make sure our flaps are set to 5, which is, I think, kind of handy because it sort of lets you know that you've done everything right. I don't know why this got pressed. It must have been something I pushed when I wasn't paying attention there. All right, engines are spooling up quite nicely, which is the way they should spool. They definitely don't want to be causing any issues in that regard. These are such big engines. We've already been cleared push and start, so we don't really have to worry about too much other than backing the plane up. Of course, like I said, I'm going to cheat because I'm a bad person. We'll go ahead and tap 2 of those. We're We're going to go ahead and engage the park and brake, just so that we have the ability to basically kick those guys off. Move the chocks. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Runway 17. Let's go ahead and confirm all those things real quickly here. I've actually got the diagram up today, so I'm like being naughty. I'm actually doing things correctly to make it a little bit easier for myself. If I didn't do it that way, that would be a little more challenging. Let's see, the terminal 17 there. Actually, it'd be much easier if it just simply went over. Actually, we have to find out what they're going to do for our taxi instructions. What am I even saying? The cool thing here, of course, is when we take a quick little look here, we're basically 17 is going to be off to our left, so we're probably going to be taking a right when we do our little power back here. So never do this. This is absolutely wrong in every possible way, but it's also kind of hilarious when I do it. So.
Please clarify your question.
The same button for that. Fantastic. All right, so we're good to go there. We're getting an FMC message. Takeoff speed's delayed. It doesn't surprise me. You always got to end up resetting those when you get ready for takeoff anyway. We're at gate 12 today. So let's go. Manchester ground. Red 64 at gate 12. Requests taxi to the active. Departure to Bradley. I should have said IFR to Bradley, not departure to Bradley. Very interesting.
64, taxi to runway 17 via Golf Delta Alpha Bravo, cross runway 17, then Hotel Kilo, cross runway 24, then Kilo 2.
Taxi to runway 17 via Golf Delta Alpha Bravo, cross 17, Hotel Kilo, cross 24, Kilo 2, Red 64. Whoa! That's a bit of a process, but we'll work it out one at a time here. So Alpha is basically right there, if you want to kind of think about it another way. So let's get over to Alpha and then start making our way kind of through our little journey here. So let's see, we're doing 17, so 17, actually, when did they... Oh, I get what they're making us.
62 Foxtrot Romeo, cross runway 22, contact ground on 121.9.
Interesting. That's a fun way to get there, is what I would say.
Ground on 121.9, Falcon 762 Foxtrot Romeo.
And somebody else talking, apparently. Let's see here. So the interesting thing is in Flight Sim, not all of the actual diagrams here will line up with each other. But it's just kind of one of those vicious little things that you always have to kind of put up with. Like, do you see how this is runway 17? This is actually Alpha I'm pulling up on, even though that Flight Sim calls it Delta. No, Alpha, I'm right. It should have given me Delta. So this is actually correct. I misspoke. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and take our nice little left on Alpha here. Erica, could you start the safety briefing? I don't know. We'll just give it a shot, see what happens.
Certainly, Captain. We'll start the safety briefing now.
I mean, we're already on the way, so I'll kind of get that all set up. Well, that's going, of course. Let's double check to make sure that's all set. That's all good. That's good to go. Fantabulous. All right, we're ready to rock here. So what they've done here, which I find kind of interesting with this taxi instruction, and welcome to Manchester, by the way, this is always going to be an issue here, is they actually asked us to basically cross here and then kind of to get into position. Don't you worry about that, though. All right, we're looking good. Holding short of 17 here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and give Tower a quick little call and just sort of let them know we're ready IFR to Bradley. So we need 121.3 here. 121.3. Right, now grab that. Let me go move my head a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing here. Unfortunately, the radios leave a little bit to be desired, but that's part of the fun. 121.3, pop it over. So we're on, let's see here, this is taxiway Kilo. Kilo, well, there's Kilo and Kilo 1 and Kilo 2, but it's like this little mishmash of different runways here. Kind of complicated, but that's okay. Bradley Tower, Red 64 is holding short of 17 on Kilo. Request departure IFR to Bradley.
Red 64, Manchester Tower, wind
Nice.
calm.
Let's go.
17, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 17, Red 64. Nice. I like that. I like that. So let's see here. Runway 17. I don't know. That just seems a little weird. All right, everything's been all set. We've done our checklists, all those different critical things. So the cabin was secured. The little cabin ready light came on a minute ago. That was pretty cool. Everything's ready. Erica's kind of done her thing. I'm very interested to kind of see how this shakes itself out once we get into position. One thing we do need to do is we need to correct our V speeds here. Since we did burn quite a bit of fuel as we're sitting on the ground there, it actually has changed our V speeds a little bit. So let's go ahead and make a quick little adjustment to that. And then we're basically ready to rock. I'll get myself all nice and center with the runway 1 center line. All systems are go. Give everybody one last victory wiggle, and off we go. Make sure they're all synchronized, which they are. Auto throttle. And off we go.
V1.
Yeah. Can't get over the climbing, the cabin angle on this thing. We're at 20 degrees right now. That is excessive. Now, the interesting thing is they didn't tell us what the departure frequency was. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll read that one off to us to give us a pretty good idea of what to kind of expect in that regard. The fact of the matter is they didn't do that. So that's going to be sort of interesting for us because we're going to have to basically run around and figure out what the departure frequency is going to be as we're kind of...
For contact departure.
Notice they said contact departure, kind of a thing like that. It's 124.9.
64 Foxtrot Alpha 2, hold short of runway 27.
Manchester departure, red 64 at 4,000, climbing 10,000.
Red 64, Boston approach, radar contact. Clear direct cloud. Climb and maintain 12,000.
Direct cloud, climb and maintain 12,000, red 64. Nice! I like that. The nice thing is they did give us approval up to the next frequency, so go ahead and delete this, delete the constraint. Now we're on our way up. That is pretty cool. That is actually pretty cool. And one of the things I really love is not only is like the terminology and all that very, very accurate and very, very clear, but they also do a really, really nice job of like simulating the way people talk, which I know it sounds kind of dumb, but like...
Expect the ILS runway 24 approach into Bradley. I'll have your descent, let's say in about 16 minutes.
Yeah, we'll expect ILS runway 24 into Bradley. We'll have the descent in about 16 minutes, red 60. Red 64, not 64. My bad. You can tell I don't do IFR a lot, so of course we'd be shutting all that. All right, cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go direct cloud, which is convenient because that's what we decided for on our flight plan, which is nice. The nice thing is it actually reads your flight plan off of SimBrief. I set that all up a little bit earlier to kind of be ready. So what we'll do is we'll kind of zing.
Contact Boston Center on 128.325.
128.325, Boston Center, red 64. That's kind of rude to do that. Boston Center, red 64, 10,500, climbing 12,000. 12,000. Boston Center's being set.
Red 64, Boston Center, good afternoon, natural altimeter.
Not gonna lie, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erica, your lead flight attendant. We've just reached 10,000 feet. The use of approved portable electronic devices is now permitted. For your continued safety, please keep your seatbelt fastened at all times, even if the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. Thank you.
Now, what I'm not gonna...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erica, your lead flight attendant. We have now reached our cruising altitude of 12,000 feet, and the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. For your continued safety, United Airlines requires that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated. In a few moments, Brian, Melanie, Abby, and I will be coming through the cabin with our snack and drink service. We have a selection of beverages and light snacks available for you. If there's anything we can do to make your flight more comfortable, please don't hesitate to let us know. Thank you for flying with United Airlines and enjoy the rest of your flight.
So, I didn't push any buttons. It did all of that completely on its own, which is great. There's actually different types of, while we're kind of cruising here, let's play a little bit around with some of the different options they actually have built in here, which makes it a little bit different. Now, of course, they're going to get handed off to Boston in a second here, but let me just show you how cool this is. So if I go over to settings here, and again, this is just giving you a pretty good idea of what's going on. If I go over to intercom, we have the grade A, but we actually have quitting time and fearsome duo as well. So it's like, you know, just kind of neat, like the different personalities of everybody. And I can hear the little banging around. And you know, one of the things we should do is we should do the coffee test. This is a very, very important test on any airplane. Erica, could you rustle up some coffee for me, please? That was the wrong button. Erica, could you rustle up some coffee for me, please? I pressed the wrong button. That was my bad. I'm just curious to see if she can respond to that. We'll find out. Erica, would you be so kind as to please bring us some coffee? I don't know. I'm just going to give it a shot and see what happens there. We had a little bit of a disconnect to the software there.
Captain, I'll bring the coffee right away.
Woo! Coffee for everybody. It is a good day to fly. All right, so let's get everything ready to land here. We tested everything. Everything seems to be going pretty smooth so far. Definitely got to be thinking about approach and stuff like that in a minute. My gosh, that is lightweight. 30 slash, we're going to do slash 145 today. That's going to be a pretty good speed. Again, we're going to be coming in on 111.10 when we get closer. So that'll be our landing speed. That is all squared away and pretty much ready to go. I'm expecting them to be giving us a descent any second now because we are very, very, very close to our destination there. One thing I can actually do is I'll do one of those things real quick, just to sort of give everybody a heads up that we're getting close. You can actually see here that it's all squared away and already. So, oh boy, getting a little close there. Maybe we can request descent. Interesting.
Yeah, Red 64, descend and maintain 5,000.
There it is. It was just being slow. Descend, maintain 5,000, Red 64. So one of the interesting things here is we're going to have to actually do a lot of this manually. Once they start giving you instructions, all that lovely VNAV stuff that everybody loves to use, it's not that it becomes useless, it's just it becomes a lot harder to do well. That's just kind of one of those things that you have to kind of keep in mind. It's just one of those things you got to deal with. So what I will actually do here to help me out a little bit is I'm going to pull this out to about half. Because we're desperately, remember we descended late here, so it's going to take a lot of effort to actually get us to slow down enough to be able to do what we need to do here. So I'm just going to pull that back. We'll start getting our descent in here. Looks pretty good to me. While that's going on, I'll go over to the normal menu here. We'll do descent. Let's run through a recall. We can check that real fast. No issues. Recall notes, auto brake. We're going to set this to number 3. This is Bradley after all. Landing data, we've calculated all that. We need to punch minimums in. So let's go punch that in real quick. Minimums, reset. Oh, yuck. We want radio minimums here, so it's going to be reset again. 200 feet. Sweet. So that's all set. We're ready to rock. Auto brake is set. So we're using speed brakes at the moment, just really trying to get slow enough to be able to descend somewhat quickly here. Let's go take a look at how this looks out back.
November 245.
You can see our little things just I can get radio signals all the way back here in the cabin. That's kind of nice.
10,000 feet, November 245.
But we desperately need to slow down. We obviously could decrease our descent rate, but if we decrease our descent rate, that's going to be bad for us too, because basically we're never going to get down. Like you can actually see very closely that we need to be hitting Kibby at 3,000. Right now, we're on track to be hitting 5,000 about here, which is no good for us. So we'll go fast forward just a little bit here.
500, turn right heading 255.
3500, turn right 255, red 64. Interesting. That's a fun little maneuver we got to do here, but that's okay. 3,500 is actually still kind of high for the approach, so I'm very curious to see how is this actually going to shake out. So we'll go find out in a few seconds here. So, of course, when they give you instructions, they've already meant that you're supposed to be doing those. So I'll go do 255. This is why it's nice to have a co-pilot, too, because they can sit here and crank these things as well.
15 miles from Searle. Turn right, heading 275, descend and maintain 2500 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 24 approach.
All right, here we go. Turn right heading 275, descend, maintain 2,500 until established on the localizer, cleared for the ILS 24 approach, Bradley, red 64. So what they're going to do here is they're going to turn us around and they're going to try to get us lined up. And I look in here, not great. That's actually not good at all because that's going to put us across a motel there. I think what they wanted us to do is to cut across Searle. Again, I'm just guessing. Does it mean we have to cut across? We could cut across Motel? Yeah, we absolutely could cut across Motel. The problem is Motel is very close. KB's at least 10 nautical miles away. Remember, we're a 7-7 here, so we need to give ourselves a little bit more room. Obviously, if they said turn right heading 275, they meant 275 no matter what you want to do. So keep that in mind, too, whenever we're trying to spoil the high. There's 2,500. We're getting all sorts of angry warnings here. That's perfectly fine for us. So we got to slow down desperately here. I'll get to about 210, which is basically our minimum stay in the airspeed, which isn't terrible, but it'll work for us. All right, 2,900. Got 400 feet to go. There's my altitude warning. A little low here. A little low here. That's okay, though. That's a little okay. All right, so we got to start getting the plane nice and dirty. That's direct Searle, which kind of surprised me. Oh, they're going to be handing us off in a second. 12030 is what I'm expecting here. And the reason I know it's that is because Bradley Tower. Let's see, 111, 1232030. Perfection. 120300. All right, so we're going to be established in a second here, and we're going to see what happens. Like I said, I'm very curious to see kind of how this is going to shake out. We could probably start dirtying up the airplane a little bit. We could even flip over to approach standby. We are currently below glide slope, which is exactly where we want to be. This is actually an okay altitude for us, about 2,500. I feel like that mountain's a little bit closer than it should be. As a matter of fact, if you went over here and tapped the terrain button real quick, I'm very curious to see if there's anything like kind of dangerously close to us. It's just the stuff to our left, so that's actually not bad. So air traffic control's doing a pretty good job so far. All right, let's go ahead and get a couple clips of flaps in here.
792, expect direct waypoint Tango India Mike in 5 minutes. Expecting direct to Tango India.
So that's the built-in chatter there. Whenever I do this, I always like to. I love the airplane cabin noises in this. They did such a fantastic job. Erica, prepare the cabin for landing. Forgot to tell her to do that, so I should probably get that. You can see the flaps getting all nice and long there. Love it. All right, so what's going to happen in a few seconds here is the aircraft is going to take a left turn. Now we'll go ahead and adjust my little ranges here. I like to keep it nice and tight. Just about Searle. Like I said, 275 would have been okay, but we would have been hitting motel kind of high. Motel, I think it's 1,800 feet. Don't quote me on that. I don't have it in front of me at the moment. So that, again, not the end of the world.
Red 64, contact Bradley approach on 123.905.
123.
64, contact tower on 120.3.
120.3, Red 64. Bradley Tower, Red 64 established on the localizer, ILS 24, requesting full stop. Enable next Delta.
Bradley Tower, winds calm. Runway 24, clear to land.
Runway 24, clear to land, Red 64. Look at.
Traffic is a Cessna on a 2-mile final. Caution wake turbulence.
Acknowledge Diamond Tree 71 Bravo Charlie.
And that is all automatically generated. I didn't do any of that. That's pretty good. All right, we're not quite in the right spot yet, but that's okay. Our speed's pretty good. We can actually come down to our next speed. Let's see here. We're looking at 180 knots here. It's probably got to be perfect for us. We'll do 175 just for safety. All right, stand by to get dirty.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erica, your lead flight attendant. We have begun our initial descent into Bradley International Airport. The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your seats and ensure your seatbelts are securely fastened. Brian, Melanie, and Abby will be making their final rounds to collect any remaining trash or discarded items. If you have any service items, please pass them to the flight attendants. Thank you for your cooperation.
All right, we are on our way down. I will say for the record, though, it was probably a little late on our part to start going around and collecting. I mean, I'm the only person on the plane, so they have plenty of opportunity to do that. So I'm not too worried.
Gentlemen, this is Erica, your lead flight attendant. We have now descended below 10,000 feet and are preparing for our arrival into Bradley International Airport. At this time, please turn off all portable electronic devices and stow them until we have arrived at the gate. Ensure your seat back is in the full upright position. Your tray table is stowed and your seat belt is securely fastened. Please pass any remaining service items and unwanted reading materials to Brian.
I've never heard the term service items.
Come through the cabin. Thank you for your cooperation.
I've never actually heard service items before. That's a new one for me. All right, so our aircraft is nice and dirtied up. We got plenty of fuel. We're at reserves right there, no problem. Speed's looking good. We're getting bounced everywhere. It's the flight simulator turbulence. Real world weather, by the way, today. Also hot outside. Not terrible. All right, so we're on a final approach here. Everything looks good here. Everything looks good here. Erica's done a wonderful job. I'm very curious to see if she's going to do like the whole like when after you landed kind of thing, where they go through like the little spiel there. But we'll fast forward to that part.
Time is 12:14 p.m. For your safety,
is it 12:14? It must be lunchtime.
Seated with your seatbelt fastened and keep the aisle clear until we are parked at the gate. The captain will then turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
I just love the announcements. Honestly, it's like my favorite part.
Please caution when opening the overhead compartments and removing items, as articles may have shifted during flight. Welcome to Hartford, Connecticut. Did you know that Hartford is known as the insurance capital of the world? It's also home to the oldest public art museum in the United States, the Wadsworth Atheneum.
It is a pretty cool museum.
Currently, the weather is a pleasant 81 degrees Fahrenheit with a few scattered clouds. On behalf of Captain and the entire crew, Brian, Melanie, Abby, and myself, Erica, thank you for flying with United Airlines. We hope you have a wonderful stay or a safe journey to your next destination.
So during all that, we actually got a contact from the tower telling us to contact ground on 121.9, which we did not do. All right, Definitely fascinating. I love the cabin stuff. I think that's like my favorite part of the whole thing. But very interesting. Very, very interesting. Obviously, I as an IFR person I'm very rusty, but at the same token, is it's fascinating. It's very, very interesting to see kind of how these things are shaking up and how they sort of build themselves. I got to fiddle with the volume, I think. So next time, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a rather unique feature of this program, the tour guide. You'll get a kick out of it. Enjoy.